Coming from the Truspace, we ain't answer to big neighbors. I don't give a fuck what you say. Found the universal coochie, planting seeds and birds fruit. Now I'm really looking juicy. Welcome to the Truspace. Yeah, bitch, welcome to the Truspace. Welcome to the Truspace. Yeah, bitch, welcome to the Truspace. Alright, what's good, y'all? My name is Open Book. Here's my partner.
Hey guys, this is Herth. Welcome back to Truspace.
And this is your weekly horoscope. So let's get into the energies of the week. Looking at Monday, the 2nd of January, we have the moon in late degrees of Taurus, making a sextile with Neptune and Pisces. How do you think? And making a trine with the sun in Capricorn. How do you think all of this energy is going to hit us on Monday?
So right, this is all about basically we're gonna be emotion reacts to grounding and stabilizing all what we gave birth to while the moon was in Aries. When the moon was in Aries, that made us give birth to a vision and imagination. The moon is in Taurus, is about stabilizing and grounding that. The sextile to Neptune and Pisces is allowing us to see the opportunity to create that cup from the sense of stability to really put our emotion to work as our emotions exalted here, so we could really harness down our dreams or our illusion. And they're trying to the sun and Mercury in Capricorn is allowing us to bring the mindset and ways of thinking on like capitalism into this sense of stability that we've been working on for a while. It's almost like we developed all this value, but now we could bring a sense of like capitalism to it, a way of directing it, a way of manipulating it, and our dreams and illusions are assisting in that, and that's Neptune and Pisces.
Mm-hmm. And it's funny, even just being in this energy. Well, this is tomorrow, but the moon in Taurus now. I was talking to Lucas earlier, and he was talking about how he got his business set up and how he got his business license and stuff like that. And he was just talking, being ambitious about starting um, his farmers market thing, in the year coming, which is interesting. Where because look at the energy of the moon and being in Taurus and the sun in Capricorn, so that energy may be magnified in other people's lives going on now too. Where I bet Taurus is even the fixed portion, so a lot of the seeds are starting to come about, or the potential opportunities in your value, you emotionally responding to the value that you hold, the resources that you have right now, and seeing easily now how you can utilize these better for your gifts and talents or your position in the world. And it's funny, he was talking about he's making salsa and stuff like that. He's been making food, he's known for food and shit like that, and wanting to cook and stuff like that. And he's just been wasting his time not doing the aspects like that, which I understand too. Everything that I do that's not like astrology feels like a waste of time, because that's the one thing that really focused in. So I get what he means in that aspect. But that's what Taurus, kind of represents, that grounding aspect, your gifts, your talents, your seeds, the things that you have sown into the ground and that you can nurture to provide you stability eventually, and how these can be utilized. And then look at the sextile with Neptune. It's adding that dream aspect. You can be a slightly delusional, but with all of the energy that's going on now, these things are obtainable. So you still don't want to fall into the aspect where you're shooting for dreams that aren't possible, or that you can't even visualize happen in your own life. You want to at least be able to see it going on in your own life, but to really give an honest aim at your best path, to utilize your gifts and talents. It seems like Monday is a really good day for assisting that. And look how it's coinciding with the whole energy of New Year's and renewal and stuff like that. You're getting a heavy dose of earth, heavy dose of support to help take off you establishing your position in the world. And then Mercury starts its retrograde in Capricorn. How do you think that this is going to hit everybody?
So this is gonna be beneficial. This is gonna allow us to look over and analyze all that we've been trying to think in terms of trying to uh, promote and give birth to this business structure that we're trying to commit to. So this retrograde is gonna allow us to look over all those plans and add more ideas and thought and ways of analyzing, so we could prepare on which like way we should go for our public status. And since this is gonna be the main theme, having all these planets in Capricorn, Mercury, the Sun, and then Pluto in Capricorn.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. For sure. Mercury, I guess Venus too, kind of really spearheaded Capricorn season and our experience into, Capricorn right now. So mentally, we entertained a lot of ideas of structure and stability, a little bit more ahead of, or things were being said, and maybe our relationships were showing us something, or we were spending, our finances showed us something before it actually presented itself to us in our conscious mind. But that retrograde is going to help really assimilate all of that stuff, passing over the sun, or meeting up and catching up back up with the sun, really helping to solidify a lot of ideas that is going on. For when you see them for yourself, it's kind of like your mind already kind of pre-processed certain things about, say, discipline, and about obtaining structure, but you maybe not have jumped to that experience yet, and entered the atmosphere where you have to be disciplined, or be constructed, or constricted, and a little bit more conservative type energy. But that mental assimilation is probably really gonna help. But it going retrograde, there's gonna be a lot of mistakes in order to make those two into the to come together. But it definitely all eventually will come together. But it could feel like there's obstacles in the way. But you really have to stay true to a process with energy like that, especially when we're a cardinal sign, It's at the time to start building momentum. So there's going to be things that kind of come up to try and stop building momentum or shift you into new energies. But knowing that the sun is in Capricorn cardinal, you can really trust the forward moving pushes and influences in your life, and it'll push you into the situation where you're forced to be more disciplined, forced to embody more structure, and to mentally assimilate all of these based off of mistakes or things that you had said. And then what about um, the square with Saturn and
Mm-hmm.
Aquarius, with the
So as
moon
your
in Taurus?
emotion reacting for your value and your sense of stability and to ground this, you have to find and go through the learning opportunities with the necessary people that that think like you, people that you want to associate with, people that you want to create reality with. And as the moon's going over your value, you're looking over associates that think like you, with people that want to value things like you. And the opposition to the Saturn in Scorpio is allowing you to go over what you need to necessary to detox in terms of vulnerabilities, so you can move deeper and deeper into developing your sense of stability and develop a sense of safety and security. But for you to do this, you need the right associate. The right associate will help you do the right moves in terms of stability, security, even though you may think that they don't work together.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Yeah, that's what opposition is, the out of reach sextile. I feel like that's what the moon and Taurus may bring with that nodal connection, Maybe it's an added resource or added value that comes in, but maybe it's sore because you remember so vividly of when you lost certain things, or when you weren't able to hold on to certain things. So where it's prompting you to detox those past emotions, to make way for you to actually be able to give emotion to, and value certain things, certain material things, or and physical existence in general.
Mm-hmm.
Scorpio energy will have you in the land of the dead, literally, thinking about things that are long gone.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the energy of Monday. So it seems like a very positive day to really go out and get it. And it looks like everything's really supporting that drive, that ambition, that Capricorn energy, that earth energy of attaining stability, getting your hands dirty and going out and really doing it. And you'll find that you're actually being supported instead of being more passive for opportunities. Looking at Tuesday, the January 3rd, the moon conjuncting Mars in Gemini. How do you think this is gonna hit?
So it's gonna be interesting from the moon in Taurus. When the moon is in Taurus, everything feel like slowed down and grounded. But when it goes to Gemini, things kind of speed up. So right now, you're gonna be emotionally reacting to energy, being like flexible, adaptable when it comes to thoughts, ideas, ways of communicating. Really, being out there to analyze and communicate, especially with the Mars conjunction to really making you go over these arguments, these ideas that Mars, since it had been retrograding, and Mars been in Gemini for a while, allowing you to really develop a way of uh, how to take action by thinking correctly, and the moon is basically collecting all those energies. And now having that trying to Venus in Aquarius that allow you basically to create the right opportunity with basically because Venus and Aquarius deal with loving and appreciating groups, ideas, stuff that's unique and original. And the moon and the moon conjuncting Mars in Gemini, allowing you to really juggle all these different ideas that you've been developing for so long. Now you could put it into the Venus in Aquarius as Venus enter Aquarius as you start to show more love, appreciation to groups, ideas that's unique and original, and things like that. That's really a lot of air energy to really develop your groups, but also to bring new things forward.
Absolutely. I bet Gemini loves Aquarius
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
in terms of, it brings the direction for the conversation. Otherwise, Gemini may go off, and stray away. So I definitely see that help that Venus in Aquarius will give an AKA, you can have all the desire and passion for entertaining a specific thought, what Mars and Gemini are talking about a specific thing, following a specific train of thought. But without the friends and the environment that sits to that, a lot of that, it may turn into frustration if you can't express it in a healthy way. So having Venus entering in Aquarius, where you're probably going to start meeting more like-minded people, or people in your life are going to start to be open to having conversations and debates and entertaining new ideas, be more intellectual to really complement this passion that we all have for communication and being in the moment and analyzing and speaking and collecting information. So it does sounds like a day where a lot of questions are going to be asked, where a lot of things are going to be said, a lot of information to be sought out, and a lot of people may be received. So yeah, I definitely would try and make some contacts. Say if you wanted to reach out to a specific group of people, if you wanted to start contacts or start a conversation about something, that seems like a really good day where energy like that will be received, where it's more mental. People won't be receive certain things as emotional from that emotional standpoint. They would be able to accept it more in the air light realm.
exactly.
And then the sextile to Jupiter in Aries
The sextile,
with the
the
moon
the
in Gemini.
sextile to Jupiter air is gonna allow you almost like to bring all those experiences that you've been developing and extracting knowledge and wisdom. And when it comes to bringing that sense of individuality that you want forward, and the moon conjunct Mars in Gemini is gonna bring the conversations, the right ideas, and especially with the trine to Venus and the Aquarius, there's a lot of energies from the air realm to really push forward this idea you want to develop about yourself. the sex has allowed you to see the opportunity on how you could do that. Mars in Gemini is going to allow you to know how to take action in a mutable way, while Venus in Aquarius is going to allow you how to bring the sense of individuality to the group and things like that, basically.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, a group like that, or having friends, and just an area of relatability on a mental level can really give you the space you needed to expand ideas of yourself, and the material, and a friendly environment at that, where things can be mental, so you can entertain a lot of ideas and say things without people getting upset if you're entering in the better areas of Venus and Aquarius. Other energies like niggas going to war based off of ideologies, if you get what I mean, where they value certain mindsets and ideologies so much and view everybody else as others. So there's that energy that can start coming about with Venus entering Aquarius. Things getting clicky, so it's either you find the group of friends, whether it's healthy energy where you guys can really express your like-mindedness, or you guys just fixate on your on your toxins, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's how Tuesday's looking like a day where a lot of relationships can be met, and there's an opportunity for you to even learn more about yourself through your relationships. Look with the sextile with Jupiter and Aries. So even with these contacts and the added socialism, there's a lot that that you're supposed to internalize, even though that you're talking. So don't forget about that perspective on Tuesday. Looking at Wednesday, the 4th, the moon's in Gemini sextiling Chiron and Aries. How do you think that'll hit?
So as you basically emotion react to more about emotion react to communicating about your ideas, thought, and analyzing. That's gonna allow you to see an opportunity on how to handle your wounds and sense of sensitivity around your self development with Carrier in Aries. How to get the right ideas. The moon in Gemini is gonna put you in an emotional state where you use so logical. You could deal with your sensitivity and things like that. But having the in conjunction to the Sun and Capricorn, we really should be focusing on building commitment toward our business and status. So we're gonna focus it while the moon in Gemini is not getting us lost in these ideas, these thoughts, communication, like useless conversations that have nothing to do with our business or what we're committed to. Especially because this is leading up to the full moon in Cancer, where we're gonna react to what we've been thinking, analyzing about. So we're gonna be careful on these conversations that we're getting to, and they're gonna be important for obviously Karen and Aries to heal ourselves and figure out a way to deal with that. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Definitely is a challenge to emotionally respond to the moment, the varying changes of the moment in the conversations, but yet still stay on Capricorn task, schedule and stuff like that. It's a fine balance. But if you didn't invest enough emotion into curiosity and seeking information, you may miss those tidbits that help you with that efficiency to go and do the job better and get the task. So even though we're on that mission, that Capricorn mission, while the moon's in Gemini, we have to not fight the moment, or not fight the flow, because there may be information that we can draw, and it's going to be harder, for everything to stay, brass task, expect conversations to drift into other things, and don't respond too angrily, because like what Harith was saying, this is preparation for the full moon, where you don't want to start planting bad seeds, where you start maybe entertaining, getting frantic mentally, and then the full moon comes, and then, the rational emotions start coming out.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's how um, Wednesday's looking. So yeah, definitely a real preparation for that full moon, where they're really testing kind of pushing your mentality or your emotions, the variability of your emotions, being able to see the value and diversity, and in curiosity, and being able to respond to those certain things, but still remain on brass task. It's like a distraction, kind of, whether you'll stay on mission or not. And then looking at Thursday, the January 5th, the beginning of the full moon in Cancer. Um, how do you think this is going to
So this
hit?
is gonna be a full emotion release in a place that the moon like to be in. Like when the moon is in Cancer, it's like very emotional. But now having the full moon there, that's very emotional. Really forcing us to really experience emotions and feelings and ways of connecting to home, which is very important. Reminding us how important it is to nurture our sense of self, that child and that sense of comfort, especially with all those energies in Capricorn, uh, the Sun, Mercury, Venus, all being in Capricorn, really making us focus on our public life, building our business and status, and that probably made us forget about home, family, domestic issues, which is really what gives us the source of energy to go out there and do something when it comes to our public life. So this full moon is gonna be about you to really nurturing that self at home. Take care of how do you feel and things like that. But having the square to Jupiter in Aries, you can't just prepare and get comfortable at home. You got to expand in that sense of self that you need to develop. And you just Jupiter just entered Aries, so you got this long journey to go. So you can't get comfortable. You just gotta get comfortable enough to allow yourself to develop more sense of individuality or bring the sense of individuality to home. That's going to be the square, the necessary learning opportunity. And you're going to have that in conjunction to Venus in Aquarius. As you're paying attention to home, your attention might drift away from those necessary relationships that you need to build when it comes to your associate, those groups that you need to put more love to, appreciation, and even overindulge too. So learn how to balance your associate and your family life, basically.
Hmm. So it's definitely an intense full
With
moon, and
Lilith
looking
too.
at yeah, man, where a lot can come out and a lot can be pushed out to heal, and that's what Cancer's role is to do, is to heal those aspects. But it may come out very ugly, or it may feel like there's sacrifice that has to be made because of these squares and oppositions. So you really may have to be forced to make a decision on those days, depending on the type of seeds that you were planting, is how intense and dramatic those um, decisions are going to have to be. But yeah, I was thinking of Cancer and Capricorn, like maybe Cancer would be like a sauna and heat therapy, and then Capricorn's like a cold shower or an ice
Oh,
bath where it's
oh,
coldness and it's restriction and it brings you up. But look at how both of those aspects are so healing. It may be easier to see how a sauna can be like that, because maybe it's a little bit more bearable. I guess it depends on who you are. But Capricorn is more of a and like a sauna, you have to be in there for a while, and then the heat gets to you. But you can get in there. It's hard to get into the bucket of ice, or to the
oh,
tub
yeah,
of
yeah,
ice, or to turn the
yeah,
shower to
yeah,
to cold and stuff like
yeah.
that. You have to actively make that decision to go and do
Mm.
that. So that's what we're kind of being taught. While the sauna healing is good, aka being emotional is good, but to what end? You have to be in control of your mind. You have to be making the decisions. You have to not let your emotions get out of the way. Be
Oh,
emotional for everything. Emotional for what? To what end? You know what I mean? Stuff like that. This is like people in Capricorn energy can get lost in, oh, my legacy. I have to leave my name, and they have like 4 or 5 children, and they're still trying to. This is like probably like Trump energy. Oh, my legacy, my name. I have to build more buildings. We have to take over the. You have 4, 5, 10,000 ass children, and and you don't raise them, you've not been a father. They are your legacy. You know what I mean? So there's a
Mm-hmm.
balance that needs to be had, aka a blend of cold and hot, a blend of sauna and cold therapy. So that decision may be bad that you may have to make on a full moon if you've been planting full seeds and it leads to a full moon moment like that. But it's going to be like a cold shower where you have to weather what you know is going to be good for you at the end of it, and you'll feel fresher, you'll feel better, you'll feel stronger. Once you go through it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's how that full moon's heading. Very intense, very intense. It's gonna feel like a lot of sacrifices are gonna have to be made. The square with Jupiter and Aries. So you're like, am I gonna be able to expand, or is this taken away from my self journey? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
There's the whole questioning aspect that's going on. Um, but
But yeah,
no.
it will show you whether you planted the right seed or not. If you planted the right seed, you'll be satisfied with your public and business life, so what you so far build it. But if you don't feel comfortable, you'll be highly uncomfortable because you basically didn't get the bag, or you don't have any plan to get the bag, or you didn't put any energy in that commitment section when it comes to Capricorn.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's the aspect of the sacrifices, weighing what's worth it, weighing what you want your responsibilities to be, and it's coming at a climax to that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you can't be comfortable. What are you going to be responsible for,
Mm-hmm.
for sure. um so that's how Thursday's looking at Friday. The moon conjunct Lilith in Cancer, squared Chiron in Aries. How do you think this is
Mm-hmm.
going
So
to hit?
as your emotion react to home, family, domestic issues, and trying to get comfortable, you're gonna go through a more like deeper, darker emotion. Really, the deeper side of emotion when it comes to Lilith, and having the square to Carrion. That's more learning opportunity on how to handle the sense of woundedness, sensitivity, while you're already emotionally sensitive. So that's very it's gonna be hard and major in my opinion. And having the opposition to the Sun and Mercury, you have to pay attention to and put more energy and think and communicate about your business status and ways if you can add more restrictions and boundaries there. So this is very intense too. So like your emotions in a very sensitive spot, while you feel your sense of self is also sensitive too. But you're being demanded with a heavy opposition to pay attention to and think or communicate about business and status. So this is like really forcing you to develop strength and commitment around your most sensitive area, basically.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Chiron's even there, so it's play it on old wounds, old mistakes, old, maybe false identities or pretenses or things that you may have defined yourself as, um, coming in the mix, just adding more confusion, and more struggle to the battle of you taking responsibility and control over your life. And we haven't even touched Pluto yet, but we coming, we coming to that. But in terms of the transits where that transformation aspect's happening, but thank God for this full moon and all of these energies coming at it, because it's really preparing us to let go and make that necessarily transformation, where we really need to understand the dark side of our moon, that Lilith, and how that works, and coming to tame that the shadow side of us, the shadow side of our emotions that we don't necessarily want to neglect, the shadow side of the emotions that if we go to, we know we're going to be uncomfortable and have a rough time going at or healing. But that is precisely the thing that's preventing us from being public, from being out in the open, from being at your highest point.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and then the moon in Cancer sextiling Uranus and North Node in Taurus. How do you think that adds
So this allow,
to the energy?
so as you're reacting to home, family, domestic issue, really getting emotional. That I feel like it's allowing you to prepare an environment where you could take this unique sense of originality been developing for a while in Uranus and Taurus. So this is gonna allow you to basically uh put, because you're paying attention to home, basically put more energy into your value, sense of stability, because you see how home and your sense of value are connected together.
Absolutely, absolutely, and forcing or given the opportunity to see how instability can lead to stability. Because we're kind of getting used to Uranus being in Taurus. You know, adding more uniqueness, more unpredictability to what's going to be a value. So because of this shift and change, it's helping us become more comfortable with the uncomfortable, because things have already been shifting like that. So it's opening way for us to be a little bit more honest with our emotions, because we don't have to hold on to specific things because we know, aka Scorpio type energy, because we know that things are unstable or things are changing right now. So the energy is really primed in the sky for us to really chase our ambitions and chase our highest potential right now. And this energy is all, cleansing it and clearing it, and and showing you, making you reflect. The moon being in Cancer, reflect on all of those dark aspects that are clouding that path to the mountaintop on the 6th, the January 6th. That's funny. um and then and it's funny, when January 6th happened last time, um Mars, Uranus was in Taurus then too, with the capital attack and stuff like that. Mars went into Taurus. Mars was like 0 degrees Taurus on January 6th, and then Uranus wasn't too far off from it, and then that happened, which
Oh,
is interesting. The But it's not real. I don't even think it was exact. If there was ever an exact, well, I guess it would have had to have eventually been exact. But anyways, that's that energy. Um, but yeah, that's how Friday's looking. I'm looking at Saturday, the 7th of January. The moon in Capricorn's making a trine with Neptune and Pisces now, and it's opposing Pluto and Capricorn. How do you think this is gonna hit?
so as we're diving deeper in our emotional release to initiate emotional feelings to connect with the home, a domestic issue to nurture ourselves, that's gonna put us in an emotional state to be able to bring our dreams and illusions with that trying to Neptune and Pisces. The more we are direct with our emotion through reflecting properly on them, we will know what type of dreams and illusion we want to kind of bring into reality. Neptune and Pisces could be very mutable, where we could be very indecisive with those emotions and feelings. But having the moon in Cancer will allow us to actually be direct with what we want to feel and control all that like irrationality comes to Neptune and Pisces. And having the opposite position to Pluto and Capricorn, this is gonna allow us to basically direct all these emotions and feelings at home towards something that could be formulated towards our business, our status, really take control of things at home so we could handle things for our sense of commitment. So that's gonna be quite hard because it's an opposition, forcing you to take power and control of your emotion at home for the sake of business status.
Yeah, for sure. And Neptune and Pisces is being there as a real helping hand in the helping of understanding these emotions in their broader sense. Just like what Harith was talking about, how these emotions that the moon in Cancer will be bringing up would be so close to home. It's going to be your home life. It's going to be your family. It's going to be the things that you can't run away from, the things that are in your private space, those are the things that are going to ring the discomfort, or point to you and show you the aspects that need to be healed, or try and make you catch feelings and influence you emotionally. But the Neptune and Pisces, aka our belief systems, really help direct and broaden that what we allow in the home. So say just a common example, everybody's struggling at home. You know, say you're not getting along with your family or domestic issues aren't going right and stuff like that. You having a broader understanding of emotion and of a belief system of how you should interact with people in general, the imagination, just allowing your imagination to flow. Even I remember, like, if people, like, especially like say like you for example, say if you were to say something a little bit harsher or something like that, I know enough Neptune, or have enough Neptune energy to imagine the version of it being nice. If you get what I mean, like, if you get what I mean, if you start using creativity to your advantage and stop, going into delusions necessarily, but you're combining it with reality. I feel has that big aspect, but it stems down to our belief systems and what we believe. So you really having core beliefs that you can really trust and believe in is going to help you settle all of the issues that you have at home. Confront the things that bring you discomfort, because you know that there's a greater state of being that you want to be in. And tapping into that, it's the ultimate goal. It lets you broaden your emotions, so you can go through discomfort right now, because you know that the ebb and flows of emotion, and you have a greater emotional goal. A lot of us don't have greater emotional, or don't live in our emotional world enough. So there's a real piggyback, and tagging that's really going to help with the opposition in Capricorn. But yeah, that's how Saturday is looking. So yeah, Pluto and Capricorn, man, it's really coming with vengeance for our emotions. Really, really showing you, trying to pluck it at everything that you care about. Um, it's gonna be a real challenge. But yeah, that's how Saturday's looking. Uh, Looking at Sunday, the Moon in Leo opposite Venus in Aquarius. How do you think that's gonna hit everybody?
So we're gonna be emotionally reacting to self-expression, entertaining ourselves. But what we're gonna self-express and entertain is gonna be whatever we been developing at home, what we've been nurturing at home. So this is gonna be quite difficult too, since it's gonna have the opposition to Venus and Aquarius. As we're emotionally entertaining or self-expressing whatever we want, we have to put more energy into loving, appreciating our groups, our associate, and things like that. So the Moon in Leo might get you to maybe overindulge in your own self, but if you know how to use that energy and entertain your associate and show more love to them, you could definitely handle this opposition. And having the square to the south node in Scorpio and the north node Uranus in Taurus is showing you how you could mix your own self-expression and how you entertain yourself with the uniqueness and originality that you've been developing in Taurus through the necessary learning opportunity, the square, but also what you need to detox from, so you know how to self-express yourself properly with the square to the south node in Scorpio.
Kind of like clearing a pathway or something like that for better expression.
Mm-hmm.
I get that. Scorpio has to detox the body for Leo, the blood to run through the body more efficiently, for sure. Um, the moon in Leo, I bet if when the moon is in Cancer, especially following the energy of the full moon, if we're still responding to vulnerability in terms of defensiveness, in terms of the shell. That's where like what Harold was mentioning, the more selfishness or the more self-centered type of emotional expression, but it'll be more so like prideful, self-defense over a certain amount of time um, can turn into pride. Look at people who aren't necessarily challenged, don't want to be challenged because they keep on putting themselves in situations that are comfortable, so they don't end up being challenged. Stuff like that ends up becoming prideful. So certain aspects that maybe don't work out in certain situations, they were allowed because of that comfort to not be challenged. So can lead to say now Moon into Leo, where you're a little bit more prideful in your emotions, where you're holding on to seeing emotions as a specific way because you allowed you're so defensive and not allowing vulnerability and to see the vitality of things, really holding on to specific comforts, not allowing the moon to rotate, not allowing you to leave things, knowing that things will come back to you. Um, you can end up becoming real prideful and real self-centered in your emotions and get real lost in them. And this is how it's going to post Venus in Aquarius, when we're it's more of a collective thinking and making relationships off of like-mindedness. I, I can't see um what's in your mind or what you're seeing or what you feel. So if that's really what it is, I remember talking to a Leo. There's this crazy old lady I met on a farm while I was volunteering on an organic farm. I met this crazy spiritual lady, allegedly spiritual, but she was a Leo and she was like a Virgo moon or something like that. But it was crazy. Like spirituality, she only seen it how she seen it, and it was like her God was the only God. It was a high level Mason that never went to no Mason school, just this random old lady that that just reached high level masonry where the light shields were was deep. She was Luke Skywalker with the light shields. It was crazy. But that's the energy Leo can really get to. Try and stop the sun's forward movement. You can't do stuff like that. So it can really be a detriment, or you'd use light shields. So when the moon's in Leo, don't try and be like that, but you can still utilize your light, your decision to feel the way that you want to feel, you being in that creative power of expressing yourself in whatever way that you want to, but try and do that in healthy ways. And Venus is kind of gonna that opposition of Venus is gonna help push you, having your relationships show you that you're not an individual, even though you want to create it and respond that you're part of a constellation. But then how you deal with that, you can create things for the constellation, or you shine your light for the beauty of the constellation. But just not get lost and burn up, and now you have too much of a gravitational pull, and now you're pulling all the stars, into to your center and stuff like that. But yeah. What about the moon and Leo sextiling Mars and Gemini?
So this is gonna be interesting. As your emotion react to the stage, I feel like having Mars in Gemini, this is gonna allow you maybe to bring the right ideas, thoughts, ways of communicating. It's almost like having like the marketing coming to you as you're jumping on the stage to express yourself, giving you the right way of like moving your self expression forward through ideas and things like that. But you gotta be careful with the fact that it's still retrograding, so you might get like things that you're still looking over, but you could still try new ideas. Just Mars is allowing you to collect all new type of information here.
Mm-hmm. And I can see how the moon could help, depending on how you personally deal with the moon energy. But the energy can be subtle, real subtle sometimes, and behind the scenes type oriented. So I can see you being emotionally invested into something can help dull Mars. So Mars isn't as aggressive because you're emotionally invested. You're on the stage and you're emotionally invested into it. So you may walk a little bit more subtler because the spotlight may be on you and your emotions a little bit more. So that sextile, I can see that really helping Mars not seem as aggressive in its conversation, in what it wants to talk about. The passion can come through a little bit more because we're adding the emotion to it. So there's real opportunities to really be heard in a deep sense, for your words to really reach people and to paint a picture of what's going on in your internal world. Could be a good day to have a heart to heart conversation or something like that, or to speak passionately about something. But yeah, that's how the week's looking, guys. Have a safe full moon. All I can say is don't be scared of vulnerability. That's on the process of becoming a boss. You know what I mean? Any businessman, knows losses. They lost assets or
Hmm.
profits or something like that. Any, great warrior has scars, tissue and stuff like that. But that's what makes them a great warrior and what builds the knowledge of the empire and stuff like that. So my advice for this full moon is to really embrace the vulnerability and let it heal what needs to be
Like
healed.
I great representation. I feel like this is like George Washington. Like a lot of people don't sympathize with him because when you read his letters and his stories, his brother and his father died when he was on his way to like start the United States of America. So like a lot of people
Mm,
don't see the vulnerable side of the guy who did that big capitalistic idea.
yeah, that's true.
Like a lot of people don't understand how that impacted him and how that inspired him not to go back and just to move forward. The death of his brother, it's kind of funny.
Which what inspired him to take charge on a new beginning and stuff like that. Was he a Cancer or something like
No, no,
that?
no, no. He was a Sun Capricorn, had a heavy Capricorn alignment. Yeah,
Capricorn,
yeah.
Capricorn.
He was Moon
Interesting.
Pisces, Sun Capricorn. Yeah.
Moon Pisces, Sun Capricorn. You see. Wow, that's like the opposite of my sun, which is funny. But those energies, like Pisces and Capricorn, like if you can imagine it, you can achieve it, and you have the will to achieve it. Like some large scale stuff like that. It's gonna be those energies. But yeah, that's how the week's looking. Thanks for watching, guys. Check out our website, truspace.biz. Check out our Instagram, truspace underscore. Give us a like, a comment, subscribe, all of that. We greatly appreciate it. And yeah, we'll catch you guys later.
Take care, guys.